Our other big story at 5, a shakeup in Clayton County. The sheriff says he's firing 2 deputies who allegedly ran away from a deadly shooting.
A lieutenant is also expected to be demoted for how he responded to all of this. 11 Alive's Deborah Tuff has this story all new at 5.
Sheriff Victor Hill called it malfeasance, blasting 3 of his high-ranking deputies for how they handled a murder investigation. I'm disappointed to announce that 3 of my deputies who hold the rank of sergeant, lieutenant, and captain handled the murder that occurred at the Oasis in a manner that is not in accordance with the standards of the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. Hill says 2 of his deputies were working off duty without approval at a quinceañera at the Oasis Event Center on Jonesboro Road Saturday night. Investigators say a fight broke out between 17-year-old Jorge Beltran and someone else. The sheriff says a bystander went to tell the sergeant and captain, and quote, when they came inside and the fatal shot was fired, both deputies turned around and fled out the door with the fleeing crowd. 27-year-old Juan Salazar was killed in the shooting. The sheriff's office says he was trying to break up the fight between the teen and the other person. Hill says a lieutenant later responded to the scene and learned the deputies had run away, but failed to notify command staff. I emailed, called, and stopped by the courthouse and sheriff's office to talk to Hill about this in person, but he did not respond. I also stopped by the Oasis to try and speak to the owner. She wasn't there. In a statement, Sheriff Hill says he won't accept the resignation of the sergeant and captain, but will fire them Wednesday. As for the lieutenant, Hill says he's been demoted to the rank of a deputy, and for the teen accused of firing the fatal shot, he's in custody facing charges. Now, the sheriff's office has not released the names of the deputies involved, but we do know this case will be sent over to the district attorney's office to see if charges will be filed. From Clayton County, Deborah Tuff, 11 Alive News.